our backyard. Yeah. We haven't asked for it, and it needs to close.
Yeah. Good evening. Ben Leo Tonight, late edition, kicks off right now. Let's have a whiz through the first of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, starting with the I paper. Students face yearly tuition fee hikes to bail out struggling universities. The Sun, Strictly Stars stalker terror. The Daily Telegraph, Europe tells Trump, don't give in to Vladimir Putin. That big meeting tomorrow at the Oval Office, well, the White House, DC. Keir Starmer, every European leader and every man and his dog will be in attendance. The Independent, Starmer heads to Washington to support Zelensky. The Express, Britain's 10 million junk food addicts. The Daily Mail, D-Day at the White House as Starmer, Zelensky and EU leaders meets Trump today, but will he listen to a single word they say? The Guardian, the UK and EU at Zelensky's side for talks with Trump. All this... Sorry, I mean, here's the Times. I'm just going to talk about Zelensky. The Times, Zelensky wants security guarantees before a deal. All this talk about Zelensky needing his hand held, it's like, goodness me, he's the leader, he's the president of Ukraine. What is this narrative and rhetoric about Zelensky needing backup in his handheld, Bill, when he goes into the White House?
Because, I mean, you played at the beginning of this hour that atrocious bullying incident in the Oval Office where, bluntly, Trump monstered Zelensky. And, you know, Trump sides with Russia in terms of his rhetoric, in terms of his speaking lines, in terms of his positions. So, yes, Zelensky does need support to ensure that Trump doesn't totally betray the Ukrainians.
I don't know. It's a bit... I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just a side point. I just, you know, it just seems that Zelensky...
It seems odd to me. I mean, optically, he does need the support of the Europeans. 100%. I don't think there's any two ways around that. What good it has going to the White House and standing behind him, I don't know. This is where, do you know what? Particularly in Trump's second presidency, I find myself enjoying and agreeing with more and more that he does. When it comes to the Ukraine...
You're a racist, far-right bigot, Paul.
Thank you. And I've worked hard at it, Ben. and I'm paid to do it as well. But when it comes to Ukraine, it feels to me like most of the world have got this wrong, and that I would like to see not just peace for Ukraine and then for to get their land back, but peace for that whole area, because of the way Russia have behaved over the centuries, not just the way they've behaved now. I am no fan of Putin. I haven't got a balcony, so I don't need to worry. I'm no fan of what Russia are trying to achieve here, and I would like to support any leader of Ukraine in making sure they got their land back.
Yeah, and I said yesterday I just spent a week or so at a Mediterranean hotel which was dominated by Russians, so I'm all for Ukraine now, I think.
I think there's a really simple answer to why those European leaders are there and why Starmer is there, and that is they all want a virtue signal. It's relatively easy to look statesman-like and do the foreign policy stuff. It's really hard to solve domestic problems when the UK is failing and Europe is failing.
Yeah. OK, yeah, sorry to hijack that. I mean, we weren't due to discuss that, but it just came to my head. It just seems that Zelensky, I mean, he's small in stature, but it seems like as well just the aura about him needing backup from the likes of, I mean, it's not much backup, Keir Starmer, but you need European leaders to literally hold your hand and be by your side in these big negotiations. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, I don't know. Let's look at a story that's breaking. It's a Tory WhatsApp war, because Tory MPs are apparently split over the party's asylum policy and silly messaging on migrant hotels. That's been revealed in WhatsApp messages leaked to the Daily Telegraph. So members of last year's Conservative intake have criticised their party's line of attack against Labour in light of their own record on the issue. And you have to say, Paul, it's a good point. I mean, Kemi Badenoch struggles at the dispatch box because she tries to accuse Labour and Starmer of doing this or that, and it turns out they've been doing the same thing, the Tories, for the past 14 years.
There hasn't been a government in the last 20 years that hasn't had a mandate to fix this problem, and none of them have fixed it. So I won't listen to anyone on this. I won't listen to Labour, Lib Dems, Conservatives, anybody on this issue. Nobody has made any real attempt to fix it, and there is some rhetoric from Reform to suggest that they might, but actions will speak louder than words. With regards to WhatsApp groups, what's most terrifying is how they keep getting leaked. every single one of us is in a WhatsApp group that we do not want anybody to see, OK? And it's terrifying. Every time I see this, I think, how is this leaked? There's always a snake in the grass within each one of these WhatsApp groups. So I don't like that either. This is just... this is more sleaze. I really don't like it.
Surely if you're a politician, you must write absolutely everything with the expectation that
somebody's going to see it.
But in my day, I was hopeless at technology, and it was a godsend.
You were lucky, Bill. Yeah,
you just carry a pigeon.
Just wrote it on a post-it note and left it on the desk. Well, but Bill, you must look at this even from your perspective as a horrible lefty Labour person. You must look at this and feel some empathy for Tory MPs when they get caught out like this.
No,
that's a yes from Bill, by the way.
No, because I tell you what, when you have suffered a massive defeat, you need some humility and you need to recognise where you went wrong. And the Tory, and you know, to give him his due, Cameron did that and he came back to government. Starmer did it and we came back to government. The Tories aren't even in the foothills of recognising what they got wrong and why they got it wrong.
Oh, man, this is... OK, so the idea that this particular cabinet at some point are going to apologise for the mess they left this country in, I just don't believe at all, Bill. You're a lovely bloke, mate, but this particular government and this particular cabinet, irrespective of what went on before, and I'm no fan of what went on before, is absolutely ruining this country. It's taken something that's already really bad and making it worse. I don't think an apology matters. I don't want an apology from the Tories. I don't actually want an apology from Starmer. I just want someone to come in and sort the mess out.
But I think the reason why you're not going to get an apology or you're not going to come to grips with the underlying reasons why the Conservative Party are no longer Conservative is that you still have a large amount of that party room who are effectively Lib Dems. You know? Yeah. And this is the reality of the modern Conservative Party. That is why there is now a lane for reform.
But the Tory party is more right-wing than any previous Tory party that I've known. So the idea that their members are kind of like Lib Dems, I think, is for the birds.
The lines for left and right are drawn in the wrong place now. This Tory party is more right-wing than you've ever seen before, Bill. We're all old enough...
Economically, it certainly is not.
We're all old enough to remember Thatcher.
Yeah.
Thatcher was far more to the right than anyone that's even sat on a bench
I think on social policy issues, in terms of pragmatism, Margaret Thatcher was to the left of where the Tory party is today.
Give me an example of something... forgive me for putting you on a spot like this, but give me an example now of something that's exceptionally right that the Tories are doing. Even socially, I don't see it at all.
They're jumping on every passing bandwagon, you know, whether it's migration, whether it's the two-child...
But Keir Starmer stood up and said Ireland are strangers. Yeah. Enoch Powell would have been proud of that.
Yeah. And it's not a bandwagon, it's the single biggest issue for British voters.
Yeah, and there are legitimate concerns about migration and you need legitimate practical policies to resolve it. I don't think that's where the Tory party is.
Or Labour or Lib Dem.
Well, you know, net migration has already fallen by a half since this government came to power. Yes, we need to do more on tackling illegal migration, but I believe over the next 2 to 3 years that will start to happen as well.
Can we take a look at this picture of Emmanuel Macron on the front page of the Daily Telegraph? It's a bit of fun. He's been called a handsome grandpa because he's been holidaying in the south of France, making a splash on this, is it a hoverboard? Surfing holiday in the south of France.
Hoverboard?
What is it?
I don't know what you call... I don't know... You, as an Australian, you probably know what...
Future, mate.
As an Australian, you probably know what they call that. But I've seen them. I'm someone who lives near the coast. I live in Hampshire. And I've seen these things at the beach at West Witterings, but I don't know what you call them. They do hover above... No, these things do hover above the sea.
Take that back, Will.
No, I'm not, because it's still not called a hoverboard. Well, but aren't you holding generally a kite?
No, he's not holding anything. No. Not even an elderly woman / man that he calls a wife.
Watch out, I'll sue you, mate.
The Telegraph has said, instead of his signature dark blue suits, Mr Macron was captured in a wetsuit, riding a hydrofoil board and grinning widely during sunset. I mean, nice bit of colour there. A hydrofoil board. I mean, I think it's a hoverboard, Will. There's still time to retract your live statement.
Your sailor.
Will.
Do you know what? It's got echoes of Ed Davey, and it worked for Ed Davey in significant...
Oh, it didn't work for Ed Davey.
72...
OK, all right, it did. OK, I'll give you that, Bill. It has worked for Ed Davey. Ed Davey is... I don't know how Ed Davey has managed to achieve this, is because no one's looking. He spent the whole of his campaign in a theme park or, you know, falling off a log or riding a hoverboard, Will.
But it worked because nobody's seriously interested in Lib
But
Dem
nobody's
politics. But he needed visibility, and it got him visibility.
So when we come to the 2029 general election, no one's going to look at Ed Davey seriously because of what? Because of this. Nobody. What has he done other than going to Thorpe Park or Chessington World of Adventures? I'm looking for free tickets. I've got a child. Other than that, or just writing letters to say I don't like racism and nasty people are bad, which is all he does.
Yeah, but that's enough. That is enough to get 70-odd seats in the.
Which is mental.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But that is the reality.
He's mental. Even you know that, Bill.
Today, that is the reality.
Of course it is, and I'm no supporter of the Lib Dems, but that's what the Lib Dems have always been about.
Yeah.
OK, interesting. The Telegraph is saying that Macron looks athletic and he's got washboard abs and so on. I mean, if that's the standard...
What are washboard abs?
Do you want me to show you, Bill? I can't. There's probably an image on Google.
I probably could show you.
Yeah, you probably could, but yeah.
Regularly on social media, Ben.
Don't go on my Instagram, anybody. Please don't go on there and follow me. I'm joking. Right, coming up, serious stuff. We'll be crossing live to the United States to get the latest on the Critical Peace Summit at the White House tomorrow. Starmer's going to be there. The leader of Italy, Meloni, will be there. Germany, France, even Finland. I still don't know what the Finnish leader is doing there, but it's the place to be tomorrow. Zelensky, Trump at the White House. Back in just a tick.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
27 now. Heaven, Health and Beauty in Shropshire is celebrating the official unveiling of their royal warrant today.
Well, it's been recognised as the supplier of skincare products and treatments to Her Majesty the Queen after she first used the company's products 19 years ago. She's a loyal customer.
She is a loyal customer. Jack Carson has been getting the treatment.
I was just like, I wish my mum was here to see this.
There's a beaming smile on the face of Heaven, Health and Beauty founder Deborah Mitchell as she celebrates the unveiling of their royal warrant. Starting her business with £10 in her pocket in 1995, Deborah says she's worked from the ground up and started providing skincare treatments to Her Majesty the Queen 19 years ago. Today she says she's honoured to be a recipient of a royal warrant.
It is a feeling that you cannot explain, but I was very lucky before having the royal warrant when Camilla Parker Bowles was Camilla Parker Bowles, and I didn't tell anybody I did her treatments. It hit in the press, and then this product, which is the bee venom made from bees, makes the skin look younger using a Botox alternative.
The King and Queen have granted royal warrants to almost 400 companies that supply the royal household, with each one lasting up to 5 years. It also means those companies can display the royal arms on their products. Director and daughter of Deborah, Ella Mitchell, makes this business a family affair, and she's made sure the packaging is already getting a fresh look. Ella says she's proud the products are made in Britain.
The achievement itself, you feel proud to be British, and I think that's one of the core values of us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to late edition, and it's D-Day imminently for President Trump and Zelensky as world leaders gather in Washington, D.C. tomorrow ahead of crucial peace meetings. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, is heading to Washington as well and will be at tomorrow's big meeting between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. Sir Keir won't be short of company either. Leaders from France, Germany, Italy and Finland, who over the past 2 hours I've been mildly mocking, asking why Finland are there, and to my ignorance, I've been told that, of course, Finland borders Russia, so it's definitely in their interest to be there, of course. They'll be there as well as major figures from NATO and the European Commission. Well, let's cross live now to the United States and speak to the former advisor to the Bush and Clinton administrations, Steve Gill. Steve, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your company. What to make of this meeting tomorrow? Is it really as bombshell as being dubbed in the media?
I think it remains to be seen. I think the meeting between President Putin and President Trump in Anchorage, Alaska, set the stage for a big meeting. And you have all these world leaders that are showing up, but President Trump has made it clear he's meeting with Zelensky. And if things go well there, maybe he'll talk to the rest of them. But this is not going to be the big gaggle they were expecting. I think President Trump's going to start with Zelensky.
So President Trump's made that clear. He said, I'm meeting with Zelensky. And then possibly, depending on how it happens, if things go well, as you said, then Maloney, Starmer, so-and-so, you can come in and get involved. Is that right?
Yeah, and my bet is that this time President Zelensky will be wearing a suit. In fact, I think the White House sent a directive that he's expected to be wearing a suit this time to show the proper respect. So I think this may go a little bit better than that last Oval Office meeting.
So, Steve, you've heard that on the grapevine this evening, that the White House has told Zelensky, turn up in a suit, please.
Yeah, and I think that if he's smart, he will. I think the problem that this situation is, it's almost like it's a trap for Zelensky. President Trump had this meeting with President Putin. It seems like there were a lot of agreements on how this should be resolved, and yet you're still hearing from NATO, from these Western European nations, from the EU, and from Zelensky, not 1 inch of property from Ukraine will be transferred to Russia. That is not what the battlefield has shown. That is not what President Trump is apparently looking to get to. So I think that if NATO and the EU and Zelensky are still saying NATO will expand, and there's not 1 inch of property that will be lost, it's going to be a short meeting tomorrow.
OK, Steve, my colleague Will Kingston here, he's a presenter on the second biggest Saturday night TV show in the UK, Saturday 5. Will, what's your question?
I think you'll find it is actually biggest, depending on which particular ratings format you choose to select. Sorry, Steve, that's insider baseball.
How come
question
I'm not your show?
Thank you. Question was going to be on the relationship between Trump and Zelensky, which obviously we saw the footage of that last meeting. It was very cold. Has that relationship actually improved? Do you have an insight into how they are actually getting on now?
I don't think they've improved their relations. I think the problem that Zelensky has is that they've been living, as some in the Trump administration have even said, in a fantasy land that they're somehow winning the war in Ukraine. There's nobody who believes that except maybe President Zelensky. And I think President Trump and President Putin being able to have that face-to-face meeting allowed President Trump to get a lot of information that has not been given to him by some of his advisors. And I think that face-to-face, both in terms of the actual history of Ukraine-Russia relations, of the Donbass and what's been happening there, even over the past decade, is something that has informed President Trump in ways that he was not informed before. I think also when you look at the body language, the conversation that took place in that Alaska meeting, I mean, even Marco Rubio comes in a little bit late, and you have the Russian side there, you have President Putin and Trump sitting beside each other, and then the American side. Rubio comes in a little bit late, looks at Lavrov, the top diplomat from Russia, the foreign minister, and jokes about his USSR CCCP sweatshirt, and Rubio in Russian says, I want one of those sweatshirts, and Putin turns to Lavrov and says, hey, that's a hint, send him one. And then he turns to Trump and points to Lavrov and says, he's an imperialist. And they're laughing and they're joking. Clearly, they were getting along very well, and this was even before the meeting.
Yeah, I saw that clip today, actually, Steve. It was fascinating. It did kind of make me a little bit sick, though, as well, because you've got, on a more serious note, you've got hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of Ukrainians and Russians slotting each other in trenches whilst men in dark suits gaggle round and joke with each other. So it kind of...
And that's a great point. But you want to have relationships between leaders that are not cold and divisive. You want them to have the ability to build a rapport to get to a peace treaty that doesn't keep the carnage going where it's gone. By the way, that CCP sweatshirt, it is 2 months on back order now because it has exploded in demand. So you think President Trump is the guy who knows how to do merch like the Alligator Alley merchandise for the prison in Florida? Apparently Russia is taking notes.
Well, hopefully it's Russians who are ordering it and not commies who have infiltrated the West. Bill Rammel's here, former Labour government armed forces minister. Bill?
Steve, did I hear you correctly say that Trump needed to meet Putin in order to understand what's going on in Ukraine and not listen to his advisors? Because, frankly, that's bonkers.
Well, I think some of his advisors have a vested interest in the carnage and the war continuing. You know, just a few months ago, you had Mark Rutte, the head of NATO, declare that Ukraine is winning on the battlefield, but the front lines are moving in the wrong direction. That's the kind of advice President Trump has been getting from Mark Rutte and from others. And if that's the advice he's been listening to, that is flawed and so vastly different from what's actually been happening on the battlefield in terms of the progress that Russia has been making and now surrounding Petrovsk and other areas, while the West keeps declaring Ukraine is winning.
OK, and Paul Cox is here, my colleague, star of Headliners, British comedian, funny man. Paul?
This isn't a funny question, though, Steve. Lovely to meet you, sir. I mean, I'm a big fan of what President Trump is trying to do here, Steve, but two-pronged question. What do you believe a good peace deal looks like? And once you've answered that, I believe that President Trump looks a little weak here because he went to a meeting in Alaska, his own country, with a foreign president and came away with all the actions. Do you agree?
No, I think that he, went to a meeting with a foreign leader who also has nuclear weapons, and I think he met with respect. I do think the way they met was interesting, though. You had the red carpets, you had the proper times of diplomatic greetings, but you also did so in the midst of American firepower, of fighter aircrafts, of a B-2 stealth bomber flying overhead. So it was a little bit of a carrot and the stick kind of presentation. Hey, we've got the red carpet, but hey, look at all these planes. If we want to move towards warfare, we're ready to go. And I think that was the double-edged presentation that some people maybe didn't pay enough attention to.
OK, Steve, thanks very much. Really appreciate that. One final question before I let you go. You were an advisor to both the Bush and Clinton administrations, and my first thoughts was, how does that work out?
I was a one-year White House fellow, so I was the head of intergovernmental affairs for the U.S. Trade Representative. So I served the first 6 months under the Bush White House, and then the last 6 months under the Clinton White House, working on U.S. international trade policy. And it is rare to be able to serve through a transition. I think of the 21 senior staffers at USTR after the transition, there were 20 new faces and me for another 6 months. So it's a rare opportunity to see how the ship of state turns. It doesn't turn quickly.
I was going to say, who did you prefer working under? Which administration?
I was fortunate to be working on international trade policy, where the policies didn't really change between Bush and Clinton. If I'd been working in other departments, it might have been a little bit different.
Yeah.
Steve ought to be a diplomat with an answer like that.
Yeah, you ought to be a diplomat, Steve. OK, mate.
Guys.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Have a good week next week. Right, let's have one more whiz through the papers before we head to a break. The eye. Students are facing yearly tuition fee hikes to bail out struggling universities. I said to somebody yesterday, I don't know why you'd bother going to university anymore unless you want to be an architect or a doctor or a surgeon or something. Complete waste of time. The Sun. Strictly stars stalker terror. The Telegraph. Europe tells Trump, do not give in to Putin. The Independent. Starmer heads to Washington to support Zelensky. The Express. Britain's 10 million junk food addicts. I'd like to talk about that after the break. The Daily Mail. D-Day at the White House as Starmer, Zelensky and EU leaders meet Trump, but will he listen to a single word they say? The Guardian. The UK and EU at Zelensky's side for talks with Trump. And The Times. Zelensky wants security guarantees before a deal. Right, if you're looking to boost your bank balance, time now for the Great British Giveaway. There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could live mortgage-free or rent-free for an entire year and have £5 cash in your pocket as well. Or if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, your chance to win 15 grand in tax-free cash as a lump sum. Make sure you don't miss out. Here's all the details you need to win.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, very good luck to you. Coming up, find out what the legendary actress Dame Helen Mirren has said about suggestions that the next James Bond, 007, should be played by a woman. What do you think? gbnews.com/your say. This is Ben Leo Tonight, late edition.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Quite a bit of cloud in the next few days across many parts of the UK, but there will be some warm sunshine at times, and we are keeping a close eye on some showers, potentially even thunderstorms across the southwest of England on Monday. That's courtesy of this weather front just approaching from the south. Otherwise, though, high pressure keeps it dry for most of us through the week ahead. There is going to be quite a bit of cloud pushing in from the North Sea as we go through this evening and overnight, so eastern and central parts of the UK turning fairly cloudy. But that cloud will act like a blanket, so generally temperatures not falling too low, and most towns and cities staying in the mid to low teens Celsius tonight, a little bit cooler further west where the skies stay clear. That cloud will also bring 1 or 2 spots of drizzle perhaps by the end of the night in places. So a very cloudy start to the day on Monday compared to on Sunday in southern parts of Britain. Some sunshine though for southwest England, western parts of Wales too, Northern Ireland, Cumbria and in particular western Scotland where there should be plenty of sunshine through the course of the day, and those temperatures really quickly rising in that strong August sunshine further west. Cloudier and cooler though further east, and that cloud will only very slowly break up as we go through the day on Monday, so quite a cool and grey day to come for northeast England and parts of the Midlands. Otherwise the sunshine breaking through increasingly so through the afternoon, but certainly Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing the best of the sunshine, the highest temperatures on Monday. For southwest England though, the chance of a few showers, maybe even thunderstorms, particularly in the morning for Cornwall and potentially for South Wales by the afternoon. Those showers will still be around as we go into Tuesday, potentially across southwest England and the south of Wales. Perhaps the odd heavy and thundery one in places too. Otherwise, a lot of cloud around on Tuesday, but some brightness developing through the day. And temperatures certainly lower than they have been, and that will be a theme through the week ahead. Often dry, mixture of cloud and sunny spells, and temperatures closer to average for the time of year.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. Right, Dame Helen Mirren has said that although she's a feminist, she believes the next James Bond has to be a man. Amazon MGM Studios, of course, has taken over creative control over the 007 character, but has yet to name Daniel Craig's successor. I hear Paul Cox is in the running as well. The Oscar winner, Dame Helen, said, "You can't have a woman, it just doesn't work. James Bond has to be James Bond, otherwise it becomes something else." Paul Cox, what have the casting directors said to you?
They've told me to just do exactly what I'm doing, maintain the regime, keep working on GB News, the big fans.
Yeah.
Basically, just carry on and my time will come. It might not be this time, it might be next time. Essentially, that's what's going to happen.
It might not be in this lifetime.
It might not be in this lifetime, yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill.
Do we need a female Bond?
No, we don't need a female Bond.
Right.
James Bond's been getting on pretty well for best part of 100 years without being female. Why not create someone that is female? Why not write a character that is female? I don't understand why anyone would want to take James Bond and turn it into female to appease who?
I kind of agree with that. I mean, look, you know, these are actually based on books by Ian Fleming, and the character was a man. You know, produce a different film, a different series, you know, that's got a lead female person, but this is about Bond, which historically he was a man.
Yeah, the suggestion is obviously woke tosh, but the other thing which you need to point out is that if they were to do this, it would absolutely crash and burn at the process.
Guaranteed. The next one would be a man again.
Yeah.
If the fans allowed it.
Yeah.
Although, to play devil's advocate, that didn't happen in the position of Doctor Who. It didn't crash and burn.
I don't know if that's true, Bill. I'm not a Doctor Who fan, but people I know who are really just have lost interest in Doctor Who now. It's become sort of, you know, all trans ideology and focused on genitals.
I was particularly referring to, what's her name, Jodie Whittaker, and I think she...
Oh, when they just had a female Doctor Who? Oh, no, I guess that...
I'm referring to basically an ideological decision in the name of diversity, and they did do that with the most recent Doctor Who, which was the bloke, can't remember his name.
Lieutenant?
No, the one after him. Right. I think. And then that crashed and burned because it was all just, you know, DEI nonsense.
Right, let's move on. Shock new research in the Daily Mail has revealed 10 million people in the UK are hooked on junk food. There are now calls for the World Health Organisation chiefs to include food addiction as a form of substance abuse, alongside deadly hard drugs such as MDMA. I'm surprised food isn't already classed as an addictive...
Yeah, it's a drug, isn't it? People do suffer with food addictions. I'm someone whose weight has gone up and down. I'm about... Since I first appeared on GB News, which was now 3 years ago this month, I'm probably about 3 stone lighter than then. And a lot of that was down to just eating rubbish on the way home from here. You guys were talking earlier about having a McDonald's on the way back, and that is what I would do almost every single time.
So how did you lose 3 stone? Were you just worried about getting cancelled, so the anxiety just...
No. Do you know what? I've never lost a moment's sleep worried about being cancelled. I'm on GB News, you know, you can't get cancelled from... You can, actually. But no, I haven't worried about that. I just lost the weight because I think I got gout last year, and I thought...
gout?
I think I never went to the doctors. I was so embarrassed that I might have gout that I never went to the doctors, and I thought, do you know what, mate? You need to do something about
At least you've got something in common with Henry VIII. Guys, at any point have you been addicted to junk food?
I enjoy a Big Mac, but I couldn't disagree with making it an addiction more strongly. It is basically a way to remove personal responsibility from people, because if you say it's an addiction, then you say, well, you know, they don't really have control over their actions. It really is more of a medical condition, and that's a nonsense. Just put the burger down, go on a treadmill.
Look, I've said on this programme before, I've gone on the fat jabs, right, and I've lost 3.5 stone, and that's, you know, an aid, a piece of technology to help you do that. And with, you know, the amount of junk food that is in circulation, I think it is a social problem. You know, the number of kids coming out of school who are obese and significantly overweight is a time bomb that is ticking in this country, and we need to tackle it.
Yeah, sorry to keep banging on about my holiday. There was a few sort of anecdotes that stuck in my mind, and one was at the pool, the amount of obese kids, poor children, ranging from 3-year-olds to maybe 10-year-olds, huge. I'd never seen so, and it was more often than not they were obese. I was shocked.
I don't really understand.
It should not come from government. The answer should come from parents.
Well, that's a
it
good
needs
point.
to come from both.
I'd want government to have less involvement in families altogether anyway. I don't believe in big government. But parents, I mean, a fat 3-year-old is child abuse, without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the only way a 3-year-old can get obese is if that parent continues to feed them. It's a bit like, you know, and I don't want to, there's no equation between the two, but it's a bit like having a family pet, a dog. You know, if you overfeed the dog, it will get fat, so you take it for a walk and you don't overfeed it. The same with a child. You don't have to take a child for a walk. But you certainly shouldn't be overfeeding a child or stuffing Big Macs into its gob.
No. OK, let's move on. The actor, sad news actually today, the actor Terence Stamp, who played the villain General Zod in Hollywood hits such as Superman and Superman 2, he's died aged 87, that's according to his family. The Oscar-nominated actor made his name in London in the 1960s before going on to star in films such as Theorem, A Season in Hell and The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Guys, any fond memories of Terence?
Yeah, he was great mates with Michael Caine, and they were the real sort of, you know, boys about town and trailblazers in their youth when they both broke into the acting profession. And I think he was really good, and it's, you know, a good actor, and I think it's very sad that he's died.
Anyone else? Any more for any more?
Can you?
Got it.
Yeah, well, Bill's right, isn't he? What else are you going to say? Yeah. I'd never say as always, Bill, but OK, fair enough.
OK, one more quick story. I mean, it's kind of recycled news which has been doing rounds over the past couple of months, which is about the number of pubs that are closing per day. Pubs, public houses are under real strain. I think the latest story is around 8 pubs per day. Is this a deliberate attack on... Sorry, it's 8 pubs every week closing in Britain. That's amid crippling running costs such as tax hikes, electricity bills and so on, business rates. Pub bosses have blamed Labour policies for the heartbreaking rate of closures, and government figures show 209 pubs were shut in the first half of this year alone. Industry chiefs said the employer national insurance rise and increasing staff costs were responsible. Paul.
Yeah, well, of course they are. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't got Adam Brooks on to talk about this. The man's a publican, runs a small business. It's cost his business, I think he said £30,000 or £40,000 per annum just in the tax increases alone. I run comedy clubs. I don't own any venues in the same way that Adam does, so I don't have to pay. I have casual staff, so I don't have to pay people in the same way. If it was any different, a lot of that work would just cease because I don't have to. I can employ people on a once every now and again basis. Someone like Adam is getting screwed upon screwed upon screwed until eventually small businesses are just going to die under the weight. And pubs are very much part of this. We've seen pub culture die anyway. I'm not sure how we fix that because I think there's more to this than just, you know, Labour and the way they're taxing people and how difficult it is for small businesses. Our pub culture doesn't exist in the same way it did anymore. I mean,
kids are drinking less as well.
Yeah, much less. It's not. The culture just isn't the same anymore. And maybe we've all got fond memories of pubs, but maybe there's only a generation or two's time. Our children maybe won't be interested in pubs at all.
Really sad. Tragedy. I met my wife in a pub. And
really?
I think it's probably going to be very rare in, say, I don't know, a generation's time, as you said, that maybe people even meet partners out and about in pubs and clubs anymore. I mean, most of it's online dating.
Yeah, I think something between 60 to 70% of all new relationships in the United States start on a dating app.
Really? Online?
But it's definitely the majority, 60 or 70%.
Wow.
However, I think the death of the British pub is a story that's slightly overtold. You know, if the NI increase, which is, you know, a 1% increase, is so detrimental, then there's something wrong with the business model. The pubs that are successful, and I think they will be successful into the future, are those that diversify, that bring in a different clientele, that provide food, that provide entertainment, and I still think that's a viable
That sounds like
model.
a really wonderful theoretical solution to the problem, Bill, but it doesn't actually work that way out in the real world. There's you know, a pub in the middle of a council estate isn't going to diversify. It is just going to attract the people on the council estate and around, or whatever it might be. Not that many pubs on council estates anymore. But you can't just, not everything's a London bistro pub. It's very difficult. You've got to cater for your audience, for the environment around you. And the only way you can do that is to offer great value for money, and it's becoming increasingly more difficult to do that. It's not about whether the business model works. You know, if you've got good staff and you want to employ them and keep them employed, you've got to pay a lot more than you would have had to have done 20 years ago to do exactly the same thing. So I think it does have an impact, and I think that Rachel Reeves is going to tax everybody until such a point that none of us are going to be able to breathe.
But come on, Paul. Yeah, it does cost more because staff require and demand a better standard of living. You know, one of the things this government has done, rightly in my view, is significantly increase the national minimum wage. Well, you know, that comes with a cost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Well,
I'll talk all night on that, but yeah.
Just after the break, how much would you pay for a bottle of water, guys? Very quickly.
God, no, you shouldn't pay any more than £1.
OK, well, look, there's an award-winning restaurant in the UK that's charging, can you guess, I won't tell you the figure, gbnews.com/you'll say, how much do you think an award-winning restaurant is charging for a bottle of water? Back in just a sec.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Heatwave conditions continue across much of central western parts of the Mediterranean. Plenty of sunshine. Now, there are a few thunderstorms around. Looking at the bigger picture for Monday, sunny spells across much of the Canaries. It'll be a lovely few days to come here. Spain and Portugal seeing some heat, the risk of 1 or 2 thunderstorms later, but a real risk of thunderstorms across Italy and into Greece, 1 or 2 of these on the heavy side. But the main outlook is for it to be warm and settled.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Hello, welcome back to Ben Leo Tonight, late edition. Now, breaking in the last couple of moments in tomorrow's papers, Reform UK has banned its local branches from organising political events on WhatsApp after fears of infiltration from the so-called far right. Rules handed down to local affiliates last month, reported in The Times, will force branch officers to sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and prevent them from opening their own bank accounts as well. That hands sweeping powers to the National Party to override the rules and indeed suspend members. The Times reports sources familiar with the rules said the strict approach is needed to prevent far-right infiltrators, pretty much. This is interesting, isn't it, Bill? What do you make of this?
I'm astonished that local branch officers are being forced to sign non-disclosure agreements in respect of what they do. I've never heard of anything like it in a political party. And the reason this is being done is, you know, Reform and Farage are clearly fearful about what some of their activists do and say. And it's overseen by this, you know, really draconian approach. And it's underscored by the fact that it's still not a democratic political party. You know, it's a wholly owned subsidiary of Nigel Farage plc. And, you know, that's not a healthy democratic environment.
So would you not give Reform credit for trying to stand... I mean, they're accused of being far-right cranks by whoever, by the far left, I guess. Would you not give them credit for trying to stop these nutters joining their party?
But with NDAs? I mean, I've never heard that you have to have a legally binding agreement to stop a local officer from saying what they believe.
Well, probably Reform... I don't know. Paul, what's your take?
It's interesting, this, isn't it? It is interesting, and I fear it does play into the hands of the opposition to Reform.
Yep.
I wish they'd live and let live a little bit more and just have a lot more checks and balances with regards to who they're allowed to be members and councillors, etc. It does seem a little draconian to sign an NDA. It's difficult to argue on that. Your point about whether this is at least Nigel Farage and the Reform headquarters trying to do something is a good point, but it only takes a few checks and balances to make sure that these people don't infiltrate anyway. What do you think, Will?
It's also bad politics, because if they basically make this point that we're trying to stop the far right from entering the party, people will associate them with the far right. It's the Streisand effect. They just need to take on this stupid term, far right. It's just been weaponised by the left as a way to basically call anyone who is slightly to the right of Marx, you know, someone, it's a way to demonise them. It's a stupid term. They need to push back on it as opposed to buying into it in the way they are.
Right, I'm going to drop a Ben Leo Tonight late edition grenade. Bill Rammell, do you think Will Kingston is far right?
No, I don't.
Oh.
Unlike
you
Adam.
think Adam Brooks is?
Yeah, I do think Adam Brooks is.
He's not far right.
And I listen to him virtually every week, so I do. But no, I wouldn't say that about Will. Where would you characterise yourself?
I'm a libertarian.
OK.
Libertarian, OK. All right, I asked you before the break what you thought the most expensive bottle of water is in a Michelin star restaurant. Lots of you said £2.50. I mean, pretty cheap. Others said £17. Well, a restaurant listed in the Michelin Guide has launched Britain's only water menu. Oh, I mean, it sounds pathetic. Offering diners a non-alcoholic alternative for 20 quid a bottle. £20 for a bottle of water. More than 1 in 5 people are now abstaining from alcohol. Will touched on it about the youngsters before the break. Joseph Rawlins is the co-owner and head chef of French restaurant La Popote near Congleton in Cheshire. Is that how you pronounce it, Congleton? He said it was the right time to offer something a bit different. 20 quid for a bottle of water, Paul.
A bit different? I mean, OK, try the menu update. I wouldn't say, you know, creating a price list of water is a bit different. A bit mental, maybe. hey, I'm going to open a restaurant, I'm going to charge £50 for a bottle of water. Come on. I mean, people
will pay that. Some idiots.
Do you know what, though? I was about to say that, Ben. People will pay that. And people will want to pay that because it'll make them feel special in some way. So this is what's crazy about this whole idea. I mean, this is, not that I'm against it anyway, but it's peak capitalism. The idea that you can bottle water and charge £20 for the privilege. And it is just water. It doesn't matter where it's come from, it's just wet water. So
what
it's
about
not
holy water. Would you pay a score for holy water?
A score? Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends who would how's your father did it? But I wouldn't. But I wouldn't know. I think water's water. I'm not disagreeing with holy water, you know. But I'm a Christian myself. But
it's too late. You're going to hell, right?
But I was saying earlier. I mean, I always just get tap water. I don't know why, unless you're into fizzy water, as you guys were saying you are. I understand it then. But if you are into still water, just have tap water.
Well, no, I'll drink tap water if it's there. I have no problem with it. But if I'm feeling particularly flush, I'll buy some mineral water if it's still.
You're a bit posh,
20 quid?
No, hell no, not 20 quid for no. No. Right, let's have one last roundup of the front pages for tomorrow as we near the end of Bentley Tonight Late Edition, starting with, is it the Eye? The Eye. Students face yearly tuition fee hikes to bail out struggling universities. Bill, very quickly, because we've got 2 minutes left. I argued that I think university is pointless these days, unless you want to be a surgeon or an architect or something. All these non-courses, people going to uni for 3 years, getting into debt, wasting their time. You said that I was wrong.
Yeah, and it's not debt. It's a postgraduate repayment system.
Debt.
No. It's not. You have to pay for higher education.
You do now.
The value of fees is about 50% of what it was 10 years ago. Costs have gone through the roof. International student recruitment has been restricted. If you want decent universities, and the vast majority of people do, you have to put up fees on an annual basis.
I don't know. I just think go out and become a tradie. I mean, all the millionaires I know from school are sparkies, carpenters, builders. You know, they're doing very,
and demand for universities is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah. OK, that was the Eye. Students face yearly tuition fee hikes. The Sun is next. Strictly stars stalker terror. So Strictly's Chris Robshaw called in cops after a terrifying campaign of harassment by a female. The Daily Telegraph. Europe tells Trump, don't give in to Putin. And there's a picture there of Emmanuel Macron of France on his hoverboard, Will. The Independent.
Yeah, we'll see.
Starmer heads to Washington to support Zelensky. The Daily Express. Britain's 10 million junk food addicts. I may have to get myself a burger after the show. The Mail. D-Day at the White House. Starmer, Zelensky and EU leaders to meet Trump today. But will he listen to a single word they say? The Guardian goes with the same vibe. The UK and the EU at Zelensky's side for talks with Trump. The Times. Zelensky wants security guarantees before a deal. And the Mirror. Again, Europe takes a stand. PM joins EU leaders and Zelensky for crunch talks. Big party at the White House tomorrow in Washington. Starmer, Zelensky and friends. Stick with the GB News tomorrow for the latest. Thank you, panel, Will, Bill and Paul Cox. And thank you, viewers, for your company this weekend. I'll see you next week. Sweet dreams. Good night.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. A bit more in the way of cloud developing this evening and overnight in the east, but a sunny end to the weekend for the vast majority, and those winds will be easing down across the far southwest of England too. High pressure will dominate through much of the week ahead, but this weather front may just bring a few showers to the very far southwest of England on Monday. But a fine and sunny picture through the rest of Sunday afternoon and evening for the vast majority, but that cloud across the North Sea coastal regions tending to push its way a bit further westwards as we go through the overnight hours, perhaps bringing the odd spot or two of light rain or drizzle in places too. But that cloud keeping temperatures fairly high tonight, so a milder night to come and lows generally of 14 or 15 Celsius in the main towns and cities. As we begin the day on Monday, then a fairly gloomy and grey start for some northern and eastern parts of Scotland. Relatively misty in places perhaps too, but much brighter skies further west. Blue skies and wall-to-wall sunshine for the vast majority of western Scotland. Some sunshine too for northwest England and Northern Ireland. And western parts of Wales and southwest England will also see some sunshine as well. Quite a bit cloudier elsewhere, though. That cloud really fairly slow to burn off and break up, I think, as we go through the day on Monday. So a much cloudier day to come compared to on Sunday. particularly across the Midlands and northeastern parts of England, where it may not clear through much of the day, but most places seeing at least some sunshine developing, the best of which probably across western parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. And here we could see highs of 25 or 26 degrees Celsius. Generally a little bit cooler elsewhere compared to of late, and certainly on those North Sea coasts with that breeze coming in, feeling a little bit cooler. A few showers across the southwest of England through the afternoon, the odd thunderstorm drifting northwards towards southwest Wales perhaps in the evening, but generally those fading away as we go into Tuesday, so lots of fine weather through the week ahead. Not as warm as it has been, and there will be some cloud around, but feeling pleasant.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
The Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening. This is Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howie. On the show tonight.
We get honked at, the staring, the hanging out of the window just to look at us, and it's so prevalent.
Should the police be going after catcallers? We've got a debate on that in just a second. And
the LGBTQIA+ Sports Inclusion Challenge, working to make sports a welcoming space for everyone.
a musical about sportswomen gets hijacked by its own cast to promote men in women's sports. Plus,
I won't be paying £100 to you bunch of stupid and you'll have to take me to court where we might decide about my human rights too, swear.
the Free Speech Union challenged Thanet District Council's swearing ban. It's totally Anyway, and comedians answering some crazy culture conundrums from our live studio audience. But first, the news with Katie Bowen.
Josh, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 7 o'clock. Sir Keir Starmer has praised Volodymyr Zelensky's, quote, desire for a just and lasting peace as European leaders prepare to travel to Washington, D.C. tomorrow for talks with President Trump to discuss an end to the Ukraine war. President Zelensky has said tonight that the coalition of the willing, chaired by President Macron and Sir Keir Starmer, is working out a common vision of what a peace agreement with Russia should be. He said it should be really fair, swift and effective. Face-to-face discussions will take place at the White House tomorrow to try and secure a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. The heads of Germany, Italy, France, Finland and NATO will also all be attending. Also today, President Trump has said that there was big progress on Russia. Emmanuel Macron has called on Ukraine and Europe to present a united front in Washington. Well, that comes as Russia's president has made demands to take control of key regions of Ukraine as a condition for ending the war. Several news outlets are reporting that Vladimir Putin told Donald Trump during their talks in Alaska on Friday that he wants to keep the occupied Donetsk and Luhansk regions. In exchange, the Russian leader said he would freeze the front line in the southern regions and vowed not to launch any new attacks to take more territory. Back at home, the Metropolitan Police have made 6 arrests at a protest outside the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf. Officers say the majority of protesters have now left the area, but conditions for those protesting remain on the pavement opposite the Britannia Hotel remain. The force say they've made 6 arrests, including breaching Section 14 public order conditions, possession of Class B drugs and assaulting an emergency worker. The Home Secretary has defended her decision to prescribe Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation. More than 700 people have been arrested since the group was banned last month. A further 13 were arrested yesterday in Norwich, and a further 60 more are facing prosecution. Writing in The Observer, Yvette Cooper said free speech remained an important part of the UK's democracy, which will always be protected, but argued the group has carried out an escalating campaign with disturbing information about future attacks. And some brief breaking news this evening. The actor Terence Stamp, who played the villain General Zod in the Hollywood hits Superman and Superman 2, has died aged 87, his family say. The Oscar-nominated actor made his name in London in the 1960s before going on to star in films like Theorem, A Season in Hell and The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. His family say that he died this morning. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Free Speech Nation.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howie. This is a show we cast our gaze across the spectrum of culture, current affairs and politics, doing our best to bring a bit of common sense to that which has become senseless. Coming up on the show tonight, 2-tier justice, a win for free speech, or maybe even both. Labour councillor Ricky Jones is cleared of any offence after calling for people's throats to be cut, while Lucy Connolly stays in jail. We'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of that decision. And the US have slammed Britain's human rights in a new report from the Trump administration. And we'll have someone who argues the Online Safety Act isn't authoritarian and that it prioritises children over adult convenience. And of course, myself and my fantastic panel will be answering questions from our wonderful studio audience. Now, police sent female undercover officers jogging in harassment hotspots. The month-long pilot targeted men who catcall or harass women while out running, with specialist units ready to intervene. Surrey police said catcalling is far too common, often unreported, and can escalate to more serious offences. The campaign aims to stop repeat offenders and educate those unaware their behaviour is unacceptable. Surrey police stress the scheme is part of a wider effort to protect women in public spaces. But should catcalling or wolf whistling be policed? Joining me now to debate this is the broadcaster Lizzie Cundy and writer and women's rights activist Jean Hatchey. Welcome to the show. Two very beautiful women. So, joke. straight away. It's not a joke, but yeah.
Excuse me.
No, it is a joke. Well, you can't win. We've got the debate right now. Jean, I read a piece you wrote earlier today, which I found very compelling. That really harassment has nothing to do with free speech.
Yeah, well, you know that I'm very much pro-free speech in most areas, and, you know, I was thrown out of somewhere just 2 weeks ago for holding a very small sign up saying he's a man, so you know that this will be a nuanced argument for me, but I think, you know, there's a very big difference between harassment and sexual harassment, which is what we're discussing, and being able to say something which is a fact or an opinion. One is covered as a crime, and the other one, you know, is not. You know, you are able to say what you think, and you are able to have your opinion, especially if it's a fact. And, you know, you've got a number of things on the show to do with that. But if this is men